Y'all, I almost got stuck in New York. Hey everybody, how y'all doing? My name is Kayla. I am your 5-year plus dialysis advocate patient. And you guys, I had a weekend. I'm not going to say a weekend from hell, but the weekend was very interesting, and I'm going to tell y'all why. So, for those of you who don't know, I went out to New York for the weekend to go see a Broadway play of The Wiz, which that was amazing. I'll maybe give a review about that later. But it got scary towards the end of the trip. So we had planned on coming back Monday evening. Now my dialysis days are Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So I had enough time to come back and be ready for dialysis, no problem, right? Monday morning, we're sitting outside of the hotel, and I'm just looking through my phone, and I get an alert from the airline talking about our flight is canceled. So I immediately go into panic mode because I'm like, how am I going to get back home? So our flight was canceled, and the other flights had basically no bookings for like the first hour. Then something opened up for 1:20. Now, mind you, when we were downstairs in front of the hotel, it was like 12:10, 12:15, and the airport we were flying out of was Jersey. So it take a little minute to get from Manhattan to Jersey. So me and my mom was just like, okay, we just gonna hurry up and go to the airport, right? Which I was kind of bummed about because, like, my whole plan was like go and adventure around and stuff until our flight, which was not set until like 9 something that evening. But anyway, we get to the airport. It's like maybe 1:10 at this point, but we hadn't gone through TSA. So we're checking in, getting our boarding passes because you need the boarding passes before you go through the TSA gate. And you need the paper boarding passes. You just can't have them on your phone. You have to have the paper boarding passes. So we're checking in, and the lady checking us in, she's like, yeah, y'all not gonna make it because it's already 1:15, yada yada yada. So, and then we hear them calling the last boarding for that flight, for the 1:20 flight. So me and my mom are just wrapping our heads like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna get back home for dialysis? Because the airline is literally saying they don't have anything flying back to Michigan until Wednesday, which would not work because that means I'm missing a whole treatment. And I didn't have no more fluid to spare. Okay, I was maxed out. I was maxed out. I done had to take an extra treatment. I was maxed out. Okay, so we are just wrapping our heads around how we gonna get to dialysis. We're asking for the ticket counter people. It was a lot, and I don't understand why there aren't active ticket counter people before you get through TSA, or that you can talk to. Like, they give you like a little QR code to scan, and then you got to go through like prompts, and then you got to wait like, I literally waited 2.5 hours to speak to somebody just to get the flight that I got home. So I finally get a representative on the phone to get my flight, and I'm just like, ma'am, I need to get back home. I'm a dialysis patient. I can't afford to miss my treatment. I need to get back home. I'm pleading with her. And she's like, okay, babe, I got you. I'm going to try and get you as close to Michigan as I can. I can't promise anything, but I'm going to get you as close to there as I can. And we're like, cool. If we can get to like Chicago or Ohio, somewhere close to there, we can find our way back home, right? So she finally gets us a flight to Cleveland. And it was around the same time as our original flight was, so that was really no big deal. But we had to figure out how we was going to get from Cleveland back to where we was at in Michigan. So we're scrambling around, calling people, trying to see if it's better to just Uber or have somebody just drive there and then drive us back home, or to get a bus. And we just ended up getting a ride back home, but we didn't get back in until like the flight didn't land in Cleveland until like 11:30, 12, and then we didn't get back home until like 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning. And by that time I was just spent. Like, I did get to dialysis, but it was just scary. It was just scary to know that I would be in a not familiar place trying to get emergency dialysis. That was number one. Number two was, that was really the only scary thing about it, because I've been on hemodialysis for the past 3 years, and I'm very finicky about who touches my access, who cannulates me, all of that. So I was just really nervous to know if I had to go to a hospital in a hospital system that I'm not familiar with, that I don't know anything about, that nobody could tell me about, because I don't know anybody in Jersey that is on dialysis. So I wouldn't have any information about where to go to, or who was the best, or what best hospitals it is. Like, yes, you can Google and research, but that's not really trustworthy. I feel like when it comes to like doctors and stuff, it's more of word of mouth instead of like reviews and stuff. But that's just my opinion. So it was just scary to know that I might really have to do dialysis in another place. So, and this is partially the reason why I don't really go nowhere, because I be too afraid and timid to have to do dialysis at a different clinic or through a different health system that I'm not familiar with. Like, here in Michigan, there are like 3 or 4 major hospital chains, but I am familiar with most of them. I'll just put it like that. But all in all, I had a good time. My mom had a good time, and the play was great. But yeah, next time I will definitely prepare myself better. If I am on dialysis still and traveling, I definitely will prepare myself better. I'll do a little bit more research on how to find emergency clinics, or if push come to shove, search what hospitals is best in whatever area that I'm traveling in, because I do not want to experience that ever again. Because you can't really control flights getting canceled or pushed back or delayed. And that's why I scheduled the flight the way I did, because I knew I would have enough time to get back home for my treatment. But when they canceled it, I was like, oh my God, what do I do? And then wasn't nothing else flying out until Wednesday, and I'm like, I can't do that. But if you guys have any tips and tricks about how to travel on hemodialysis, feel free to share them in the comments.